What's going on, guys? Bobby with Consumer Time Capsule, and this month we are back on the road buying up McDonald's collectibles. Still don't have a name for the feature. If you guys have any suggestions for that, I guess leave them in the comments. But this is going to be a really fun one. Unfortunately, I have a pretty boring backdrop, which is virgin territory for me, but I am in a hotel in Houston, Texas that has absolutely nothing to do with the contents of this video. But if you're wondering why behind me is a lamp and not a really engaging can shelf or collection of Newport cigarette advertisements or something, I'm at work. But more importantly, I really went to work earlier, I guess about a month or two ago. I went to downtown Chicago, Illinois to visit with Jim Engel. He worked with a company called Simon Marketing that was contracted to do the McDonald's Happy Meal premiums from 1988 to 2001. And he was the concept artist behind all of the toys for that 14-year time span, which was so pivotal for me and my childhood. You know, that really fits into essentially the entire time, actually, definitely the entire time that I was having Happy Meals. And I'm sure that many of y'all that are in your 30s and 40s are very familiar with Jim's work, whether you know it or not. And that's going to be a really fun way to start things off. And then we've got a couple of sign stops before I round it out and head back home. So without further ado, let's go to Chicago. Picking up where we left off last month's video, I came to Chicago, Illinois, straight from Joplin, Missouri. Of course, hit my fair share of traffic, but boy, was it worth it. Look at these big old thick binders. This is like 6-inch binders. Each one of these is filled with concept art, to the absolute brim. So these are the proposed Happy Meal concepts that Jim submitted during his time at Simon Marketing. You see some really cool concepts. There's probably 12 to 15,000 pages of concept art that we're looking at here. And it's an all or none kind of deal. And of course, I grabbed it all. I'd say about 60 or 70% of the concepts never even ended up getting produced. For example, we've got this Mac Tonight posable music makers, some bedtime Mac Tonight stuff. Really, really cool concepts. So you can really get a sense that these are some really important historical documents for somebody that is as into consumer culture as I am. Look at this. This is a Honda Accord trunk. It is absolutely packed to the brim. Just about ran out of space, but not quite. So I did end up taking home the full collection of Jim's 14-year time at Simon Marketing working on the McDonald's account. What an honor, what a privilege. Jim was a great guy and was very reasonable with me in terms of our asking price. I think he'd probably be comfortable with me sharing it, but all these thousands and thousands of pages of concept artwork, he was more than reasonable with me. We did a $1,000 deal. Of course, I did have to drive to downtown Chicago to go pick it up, but man, oh man, worth every penny. And I am currently working on a project to get all of this stuff scanned in. So you better follow me on Twitter at ConsumerTC, because that's where I'm going to be predominantly sharing it. This was just kind of a one-time, an anomaly purchase. Definitely a collection-defining moment for me. Something I'm very humbled, very honored to have in my possession. Really one of a kind. You want to talk about something that I could have never dreamed of having, but once I knew about it, I just couldn't live without. This is it. I was hook, line, and sinker from the moment that I found out about these, and I'm just so glad we were able to work out a deal and that Jim considered my home to be the best place for it. And you're going to be seeing a lot of that concept art here on Consumer Time Capsule from here on out. Now, of course, my primary focus in terms of McDonald's collectibles is still Translite signs. So my first stop after Chicago was up to Rockford, Illinois, where I met with a lady named Audrey. She was one of the first female franchisees of McDonald's, actually a personal friend of Ray Kroc. And she welcomed me into her home. She had about, I think it was 120 Translite signs that were all from the mid-70s through the early 80s. So a really desirable time to to really kind of capture some of that history. Because the thing about McDonald's, like, especially me, growing up in the 80s and 90s, it's like McDonald's has always been this cultural staple. And during that time, McDonald's owners and operators, they realized that, around the 90s, they should really be saving a lot of their kind of signage and, potential collectibles. But, if it's 1976, I mean, McDonald's in and of itself has only been around for 21 years. I mean, that would be like saving signs for like a Shake Shack or Five Guys or something, like it's not really something that had the cultural impact and cachet that it does now. So I'm really glad that she had the foresight to save this stuff, and really glad that she reached out to me after seeing some of my hauls from some previous trips. Let's take a look at what she had in store for me when I got to Rockford. So not a ton of footage here, but as you can see, a nice mix of 70s McDonald's Translite signs. You see a parachuting Ronald McDonald. You see some gift-wrapped, Christmas paper. And here's Audrey and I together with one of my favorite finds, a 48-ounce pitcher Translite. Getting to meet Audrey is really cool. I don't think I've ever met somebody, as I've been searching through all these McDonald's collections across the country, that McDonald's meant more to than Audrey. I mean, really just had so many memories of great times over there. And boy, how many people work somewhere for, 30 something years and end up having such a positive impression in the end. That was really cool to hear, really cool to see, and somebody it was a real pleasure to meet. She also had a friend meet us over there named Ron, and then I ended up following him to his house because he was a longtime McDonald's employee as well. It started in 1972, and I went to his house and I ended up picking up 35 more Translite signs. So I got 120 from Audrey, 35 from Ron, and I think I had already had 20 from my time in Joplin. So quick math, let's see, 55, so 175 McDonald's Translite signs in one trip. Whew, nice haul and some really good quality stuff. But now on the back end, there's a lot of work that goes into it. So let's see what that looks like. So here's a stack of signs I'm working through. Take them in here. Just quickly put them in a little bit of water, wipe them down with a towel. I try to avoid using the Goo Gone as much as I can because that will potentially stain them. I bring them into the capsule here, and boy, oh boy, I got about, 11 or 12 of these boxes for the 22 by 22 Translite Collection. These are some doubles, some more stuff to integrate into the collection. That stuff is the stuff, the higher end doubles that are going to end up going on eBay. This is where I'm kind of integrating the new stuff in with the old stuff, and then I keep it all in an inventory sheet here so that I can keep track of how many I have, what I have. Here's some more doubles. So it is just about as chaotic as it could possibly be, but it's a system that has been working for me just fine. Well, 13 hours later, I'm sweaty, I'm greasy, I'm gross, but after just ripping the Band-Aid off and getting all of my new Translites integrated with my old ones, here's what we're looking at. So the funny thing is, this is an awful lot like what my Translite collection, these are all my 22 by 22s. This is an awful lot like what they looked like before this, because I just used my existing boxes. And there are the 14 by 14s. So that is what, about 1,500 Translites, 1,483 Translites, different Translites, no doubles included in that figure. That's what they look like. Well, there you have it. Another CTC road trip in the books, and another month of the CTC blog posts is come to an end. But boy, this was a really fun, really memorable one. and one that I think that there's going to be a lot of stuff on the back end that's going to be really fun to share with you guys. So go follow me on Twitter at ConsumerTC. And as a matter of fact, you would have already seen this photo that I'm showing you guys now at the end of every trip. I always take a picture with a big old spread of my haul. And this time, you know, we get the 15,000 pages of McDonald's Happy Meal concept art, 56 sealed Happy Meal toys, even some of the Dukes of Hazzard Happy Meal cars, 175 Translite signs as we covered in the video, and you know, and some other odds and ends kind of stuff. Of course, that amazing fruit gummy bears. God, what a cool thing to find from that last video. And as I always do, I went to a bunch of grocery stores along the way and found some really cool stuff that's hitting grocery store shelves right now. We've got a big anniversary, a CTC 5-year anniversary coming up in 1 week on August 8th. I had initially thought maybe doing like a Ask CTC Anything might be a good idea, but when I ended up getting some email questions, I mostly just answered them like to the person directly. I don't know. I don't have really a ton of time to be filming between now and a week from now. I'll figure out something to post then, so don't necessarily feel obligated to ask me any questions for the Ask CTC Anything concept that I had floated on the last video. I may just do a little bonus video showing off maybe some of that new Happy Meal concept art or something like that, just to check in, say hi, and say thank you as we hit our 5-year anniversary, and we're really just getting started. Of course, the channel direction has changed recently, and I hope that it's a change that you guys have enjoyed and appreciated. But hey, till next time, of course, I will miss you until I see you, and I'll be looking out for that next road trip opportunity. I don't know if it's going to be on the September 1st blog, probably not, but I'm sure we'll be able to piece something together soon. See you next time.